Hello, this is Tom O'Connor, Advanced Discovery. I'm here this morning at the University of Florida Law e-Discovery Project Story Booth. Wow, that was a mouthful. We're actually at the e-Discovery Conference on the campus of the Levin College of Law at the University of Florida, and I'm here this morning with Ian Campbell. Ian's an old friend and colleague. I won't say how long we've been doing this stuff.
All good.
But we go way back. I was actually telling Ian the other day about, I recall early on having a law firm client in Seattle who was demoing several products, including yours, iConnect, and you did a conference call, and were walking us through the screen, and at one point you said, "I'm sorry, hold on a second," and you took a pause, and I said, "Is everything okay?" You said something along the lines of, "I had to wait for a bus to go by." It turned out you were walking down the street in Washington, D.C., doing the entire thing from memory, and that has stuck with me ever since. So, given your command of products and our length of service, if you will, in the profession, what's your sense of the 40,000-foot view of what's going on? What's the big picture on e-discovery these days?
Well, it's a great question, and you're right. You and I have known each other for a long time, and we've seen a lot of changes. I mean, I remember when I first got involved, summation and concordance kind of ruled the roost, and it's changed a lot from that point from a technology perspective. It was back in '99 when I was working on a project. It was a land-based project within a law firm, and they basically said, how do we get to this information from 18 different locations across the country? And at that time, '99, technology was not great. We all had dial-up. It was boxes of paper, but the big question then was sharing, and how can we share the information? And really the question was, how do we share the documents? And that was really where the development of iConnect started, and the ability to go and scan it, image it, OCR it, search it, but be able to do it from anywhere in the world. And that's continued forward. So, I mean, our big push has really been in the innovation of that. But, where's it at now? I think the big challenge now is that the media is different. And I was just listening to Craig Ball in the keynote address, and I think it's changed. It used to be, again, a box of paper. If you and I were suing each other, it's a box of paper and a box of paper. Now it's cell phones and iPads and stuff that's up in the cloud, and the items that are in Dropbox, and that's a lot different. And so not only has the way we communicate with the data changed, but I think the other thing that's changed significantly is that our software is magically supposed to manage all of that. And we're supposed to, with one click, be able to show you Bloomberg chat, or with one click be able to show you video. And people want to do the kind of things that they've done historically with documents: tag it, redact it, share it, produce it. And now they want to do it with Snapchat files, and they want to do it with Facebook posts.
Facebook pages.
And I think that's been the big differentiator is that our technologies has continued to evolve to manage a diverse array of document types. And that has changed significantly. It went from paper with OCR through to really email, then to different kinds of electronic documents, and now here we are in 2017, and a small portion of the case is now documents. Right. A big portion of the case is the communication. And even in coming to this conference and speaking on the panel, we sent back and forth a couple of emails, sent back and forth a couple of text messages. I happen to know a few of the speakers personally, so I chatted to them back and forth on Facebook messaging. And if any of that became discoverable, I have to grab stuff from 3 or 4 different diverse data points in order to actually show an entire thread of conversation. And that, to me, has really been a differentiator as to how it's different today than it was in days gone by.
Now that raises an excellent point, because in that address, I was listening to Craig as well, the recent, like this week, I believe, decision of Harleyville Insurance, which touched on sharing through Box, the online service, and the implications for the attorney-client privilege. It didn't even become about the documents themselves. It was about the security and the privilege and how we handle them.
Right.
Is that a concern for you?
It's interesting. When we first started, everybody was concerned about security. Up until probably a couple of years ago, security went by the wayside. Now we're back to security again as being one of the key items in any kind of an RFP we get involved in. We're seeing a lot of things like multi-factor authentication. I remember going all the way back a number of years now in Dallas, Texas, doing a presentation, and we were talking about fingerprints and retinal scans.
Right.
And I was explaining to the audience, you hold this thing up at your eye and it measures the blood flow in the eye, and it does, and that's how you get into the documents. And without a word of a lie, I had a lawyer in the back of the room stand up and go, "Excuse me, does that mean my attorneys who are stoned may not be able to get to their data?" And I remember everybody kind of turned around and went, "Who's that guy?
Yeah.
What firm's he with?" And but again, it's come full circle. And security is a big deal, but I think more important than security right now is usability, because it's one thing to secure who can get in, but if they get in and they don't know what to do, that's a big problem. And I think we're the generation that we're in, and the generation which is following behind us, are very comfortable with social media. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, we all take those things naturally. And we know that, swiping left and swiping right, you're going forward and you're going backwards. They understand that the little gear icon means settings. They understand that the little icon with the dots on it means share. People get that. And I think it's interesting that when we were kids, you had to learn computers. Now, if you know what those icons mean, you can use millions of applications. And so we've tried within our iConnect interface to make sure that it's extremely usable. The whole concept of sort of moving right to go more granular inside the documents, the ability to use it on an iPad, the ability to have a gear icon and a share icon that's very, very familiar to the audience. And those are things that, again, from a security perspective, it has to be secure, no doubt about that, but it has to be usable. And if you have to take a 1 week long course in order to use this software, no one's going to use
Lawyers
it.
aren't going to do
Nobody's going to do it. And when was the last time you downloaded an app on your iPhone and actually read instructions? No, you just started using it. And so we've really tried to innovate our software to be incredibly usable and make sure that somebody literally can log in and start working without having to learn how to use our software.
That's a great point, because I went to log on to the Wi-Fi network here at the school this morning, and there was an instruction sheet on the table for your iPhone. Well, I use a Droid device, and said click here. It had some sort of a link. I went in and it said download this app, and my initial reaction, oh no, I got to download an app, right? A 20-second process. I got to do that just to log on, and luckily it fired itself up and manually or automatically configured, and I was in.
And that's what you expect.
Yes.
That's what you expect now. And
if I had to take 3 minutes to do it, I wouldn't have done it.
And that was frustrating,
yes.
Absolutely. So, think of a document review, think of an attorney or a paralegal or a reviewer coming into a piece of software with a document collection they're maybe not familiar with. They have to right away be able to go, oh, there's my stuff, there's my next arrow, there's my redaction icon, and when I'm done, I don't have to save it. Auto saves for me.
I go to next and it
I go to next and it auto saves. So it's those kind of things that we spend a lot of time innovating and trying to make the application extremely intuitive, so the usability is really, really high.
Right. Yeah. So let's quickly, because you and I can talk about this all day. Let's face it. We could eat up all of their airtime here, just chatting about not only things that we know, but people we know. That was the business perspective. What fires your imagination personally right now? What's of interest to you as a user, as a person?
I think beyond the usability is kind of the self-serve aspect. I think one of the biggest frustrations we hear from clients, both law firms, corporations, and also some of our vendors, is it takes too long to get a project up and running. It takes too long for me, if you think about it, screen number 1, what's the case? Screen number 2, select the users, and it's very, very frustrating. So we're sort of on a bit of a bent at iConnect to create very much of a self-serve approach to e-discovery. So that from anywhere in the world, I can go in and sort of create a new case. I can upload my documents. Magic happens. They get processed and they sit in my database. I click the little share icon. I decide who I want to share it with, and I hit, and I'm done.
And you're good to go.
And I'm good to go. And not only that, but because our application is so visual, we can have pie charts and graphs that show date lines and doc type pie charts and things like that. We can do that instantly. And so technology has given us us a great way to ramp up a case extremely quickly.
Cool.
And that's very exciting because the feedback we're getting on that is like, wow, so it's more self-serve approach. I can do it myself. I don't have to get a $500 minimum project fee just because I want to go and look at some documents. And so we're going to take that away a little bit.
You're acing me out of business here nowadays.
We're going to give you a mechanism so you can take on more projects,
right,
and drive more users. Because one of the things we have is when I go to share that case, is I can share it with people outside the scope of my user base. I can invite other people in to work on the project. So it drives more users to the software. And that's important for us from a revenue perspective, but also important from a usability perspective to be able to bring more people and engage them in the case.
Right. So last question, very quickly. I've been asked by Maribel Rivera, our marketing maven, who's in charge of putting all of this together, to ask everybody a question that I didn't ask you in advance.
Correct.
If you could have one e-discovery superpower, what would it be?
I'm going to back up. I was going to say normalize all the data into something we can digest extremely quickly, because there's so many different diverse data points out there that each of which requires a way to extract the appropriate information out. But I think probably more importantly, a superpower would be to take the collective resources that are here at the college today and insert them in my brain. There's a lot of very talented people here today, and who are speaking, and there's a lot of knowledge here. And if I could siphon all that knowledge into one brain, that brain being mine, I think there'd be nothing stopping us going forward.
Cool. Good answer. Well, thanks so much. Always a pleasure to see you.
Fantastic.
We don't see each other enough these days, but once again, Ian Campbell, CEO of iConnect, here at the University of Florida eDiscovery Project Story Booth. Thanks so much.